All right, let's go to Todd McShay. Next year, we're going to do the same kind of format. We're going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly, or the most disagreed with for Todd McShay's latest top top 32. He has his latest top 32. And let's start this actually with a great Todd McShay story from the Senior Bowl. Mike, take away.
So Josh Jones is OT2 for Todd McShay. He's outdone us and gone even higher on Josh Jones than we are. 18th overall on his draft board, but we actually have him 16th overall, so technically we're still higher. But OT2, and he had him before the Senior Bowl, though, as, what was it, OT?
Outside the top 200 players.
Outside his top 200 players, offensive tackle 19. And they put that on tape, and I was like, someone had tweeted his ranking and my ranking where I had him at 18th overall player. And I was like, well, someone didn't get to the Houston tape this year. Because, that's absurd.
That was the only, and we talked about it with Steve. We talked about it with other people. It's like, hey, he just hasn't watched him yet. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. It's unfortunate that it got put out a little bit earlier than he was ready for.
Exactly.
And he even says it in the write-up. If you go to the article on ESPN, he says, I hadn't got a chance to watch a ton of the Josh Jones tape before the Senior Bowl, but after seeing him crush some dudes and going back to the tape, he's now my OT2 and also a top 20 player on my board.
Yeah. And he should be. But I saw this Thursday night Senior Bowl, practices are done. We roll into this.
How many White Claws in are you?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty
countless.
Toasty at that point. And we roll into this awful bar. It's just like they're playing beer pong there. It's like it was just a grimy Mobile, Alabama bar with like college kids there. And straight up, Todd McShay is there. Also had about as many drinks as I had. Go up, introduce myself, talk a little bit, and I'm like, hey, so I heard, so what do you think of Josh Jones this week in practice?
You're a savage.
He's just like, are we really going to do this here? And I'm like, nah, man, you want to play some beer pong?
And you played beer pong with him?
No, he ended up leaving immediately afterwards. He wasn't making too much sense. He was pretty he had lost his coat and whatnot. He was in a bad way. But
man, you approach him and he was in a bad situation. Yeah. And then you bring up the Josh Jones take, which he's probably getting hammered by others on Twitter or whatever it may be, and you had to do that. He's trying to have a good time. It's one of the last nights in the Senior Bowl, and you did that.
But that's the good, though.
That is the good.
That he came around full circle and he tried out to me.
I think that night he got back to his hotel, turned on the Josh Jones tape, and just locked in. He's like, oh my gosh, this guy might be the best player in this class. I don't know. There's not a ceiling for my friend Josh Jones and Mike Renner. All right, go to the next bit here for the good for Todd McShay. Jordan Love at number 32. And Jake Fromm at 34. So Love over Fromm on his board.
Well, no, it's not that Love's over Fromm. It's that I think he's putting them in the similar vein of, I think it's pretty high for Fromm. Not a lot of people are high on Fromm. And it's pretty low for Love. A lot of people are falling all over themselves to put Love in their top 25 to say he has these traits to be as high level QB. And 32 is much more of a hedging where closer to where we would be on Jordan Love. And seeing Jordan Love and Jake Fromm in a similar vein in terms of these guys are both flawed quarterback prospects at this point, but offers something to work with.
Despite being different, they're very similar in where they sit on the board.
Yeah. So I think that's where we have Fromm somewhere in the 40s now at this point. Maybe that's right at 50. So it's got a little higher than we have both of these guys, but I still think he's lower on Love than the vast majority.
That's going to do it for the good for Todd McShay. Let's move to the bad. Some of the stuff that we disagree with, at least slightly. I put in here Christian Fulton at number 44. No Igbenogany at number 19 over Fulton and Trevon. Guys like this, and we talked about Igbenogany a little bit. Great traits. The speed is stupid. We kind of wish he stayed a year to get better from an instinct standpoint and technically better. But I think he's a traits guy. Too raw to be over Christian Fulton, Trevon Diggs, even Bryce Hall, Jeff Gladney. I don't think he should be above some of these other guys that are already good playing cornerbacks. Noah Igbenogany is not good at playing cornerback yet. Yes, he has good traits, but these other guys are already good at that position.
Yeah, so I can see why you draft 19th. He looks like he should be 19th on a draft board in terms of cornerback position. He just hasn't played like that. But it's it's one of those things where, oh gosh, what was the example last year? I can't remember. It's going to be bad for me to just try to think about this off the hand. But it's one of those things where Christian Fulton and Trevon Diggs do not have bad physical tools. You're reaching for these elite physical tools and passing up on guys who have still good physical tools, but have been very good at football already. And when you're splitting hairs between good athleticism and elite athleticism, and the good athletes are already good at football, go with the guys who are ready to go at football. There's that incremental athleticism difference is not worth the on-field performance.
And that's where
difference.
I think when you compare it, whether you're comparing to Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, or other draft analysts, I think that's where PFF always differs the most. It's on guys that are being dropped because they're not that same tier of athleticism
elite
to others.
Athletes.
But
they're still good athletes.
I think, and maybe this is cocky, but I think we have some of the best production figures at the college level than anyone else has access to. And for that reason, we lean heavily on these production grades and the advanced stats we do have access to. And that's a big reason why, like guys like Curtis Weaver, even like Trayvon Diggs are higher than Noah Benogany, etc.
Yeah, and I think, who was it last year? I think it was Rashawn Gary versus Chase Winovich last year was the conversation that I kept bringing that back to. I'm like, Winovich is a very good athlete. Like, Winovich has good tools to play on the edge in the NFL. He does not have elite tools to play on the edge in the NFL. Rashawn Gary has elite tools to play on the edge of the NFL. Rashawn Gary also had butt for production. Chase Winovich had very, very, very good production over the course of his career at Michigan. We're like, what are we doing here? We're splitting hairs over this like incremental difference over athleticism. One guy's a much better football player at this point.
Absolutely. All right. Do we want Terrell Lewis? We kind of touched on it with Mel Kiper, but again, he had him at number 23. And I think, again, traits. This guy looks the part. I think he's going to test well. The production just hasn't
he's going to get drafted there. Yeah. He's going to go in the first round because teams need edge rushers, and there's not a lot of guys in this class that really have shown they can rush the passer. And the ones that have look like Curtis Weaver. It's Curtis Weaver. That's the one who's shown he can rush the passer.
All right. Juwan Jennings, all the way down at 224.
Dude.
This is aggressive.
And then Tyler Johnson at 163. And they're behind Kalijah Lipscomb. Of Vanderbilt. And Joe Reed from Virginia, who, I'll be honest, when he said Joe Reed from Virginia, when I looked at that, I'm like, I haven't watched a second of this guy. Go and watch him. They just pump him like underneath the screens. Like, he has 78 catches for 683 yards. He averaged 8.8 yards per catch this year. Of his 78 catches, less than half of them went for first downs. That's a crazy rate.
No, I know.
Over Tyler Johnson, who's like top 10 in yards per route each of the last 2 years.
Highest graded college football receiver this past year.
Juwan Jennings, most broken tackles in the country this year after the catch. Like, those are crazy rankings to me. I don't know.
Kalijah Lipscomb, I think in the offseason, I was excited after one screen. And when you try and see this guy separate down the football field, you just don't have it. He doesn't have it. Tyler Johnson and Juwan Jennings are both guys that can separate. Like, they can separate much better. Yeah, like, I agree with you 100%.
These like Lipscomb, if you like him, it's because of his after the catch ability. Like, that would be the reason you like him, because he just, like, again, he does not separate down the football field. He does not have good speed.
But you know who's really good after the catch is Juwan Jennings.
I was going to say, you know who the best receiver after the catch was this year? It was Juwan Jennings. So, yes, that's kind of where we're at with those.
I think you said Lipscomb. I think you were trying to make a Lincecum.
I know, that was actually. That was bad.
Big time Timmy Jim. Big time from Frisco. All right. It's time now to get into the ugly, or the most disagreed with Todd McShay. I think we hammered him a little bit in the bad, but the ugly, it's similar takes. It's similar stuff to where you're putting guys with great athleticism or maybe better ceilings, in your opinion, over guys with really legit production. Here, the ugly first one we have here is Trayvon Hill over Darrell Taylor and Khalid Kareem.
Dude, Trayvon Hill at 64 on his board.
Oh, man.
Like, he went to the Senior Bowl, didn't win a rep his first 2 days. He won a couple on the last day, but didn't win a rep in the one-on-ones his first 2 days.
I remember we were watching the first 2 days tape. It was like, I don't know if I've seen this guy win a rep yet. And then we go back and we have guys that are watching every play, watching every rep. Like, no, he hasn't. He has not won a rep.
He hadn't won a rep. So Trayvon Hill, and he also checked in 234 pounds. You have an edge rusher, 233, excuse me. I gave him a little too much credit. 233 pounds, 6'3", 233. You have an edge rusher weighing 233 pounds at 64 on your draft board. What are you doing here? Like, he's not going to rush the passer at the NFL. There's no chance. He showed it at the Senior Bowl. He's not going to be able to rush the passer.
I think, again, this might go back to, we're hammering him a little bit here, but I think it might go back to the fact that, hey, you got to watch these guys. Like, you got to go back and watch these guys.
Like, you got to, like, follow them throughout. And there can be a red flag, like, hey, you weighed in at 233. Maybe he was listed higher than that. He was listed maybe 245. And he weighs in at 233, that's a pretty big red flag that you got to take advantage of.
I don't think he's going to test well. I don't think this guy's going to test like a premier athlete at 233.
And he also did not produce well either. Didn't produce at Virginia Tech.
The grades aren't great.
Before he left school at Virginia Tech and then went to Miami and didn't produce there either. So
I had to throw this one in there too. Justin Jefferson at number 26 overall. That by itself is like, okay, come on. This guy is not, in a great receiver class, this guy is not one of the top 30 players in this class. And then he has him over Laviska Shenault and T. Higgins. Over them. I think that's just ludicrous to me compared to those players.
And then I'll add, so he has then Donovan Peoples-Jones as his wide receiver 12, but that's over Denzel Mims, Jalen Reagor, and KJ Hill.
Over Reagor?
Yeah. That's
another guy I think that you just
Mims
probably hasn't gotten back to the tape yet with.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick. I feel like but I'm saying if you go back to the tape, you watch Denzel Mims at the Senior Bowl, you watch Jalen Reagor in 2018, 2019 over the course of that, you're going to see players that are better than Donovan Peoples-Jones. You're going to see players that are better than Justin Jefferson, in my opinion. Those guys, I think Mims, Reagor are all better than Justin Jefferson. Man, that's tough. That's tough.
That's just,
and we were talking, and to be fair
though, he has those are wide receivers 12 through 15 on his board, and they're all in his top 80 players. So he has he's really high in this wide receiver class.
Well, that's good.
So he's kind of splitting hairs but dude, like ranking those guys, I don't know, just the way those were ranked, I'm going to disagree.
And we were talking to Daniel Jeremiah at the Senior Bowl, and he was saying, something that PFF does a really good job of with the tools we do give the NFL teams and certain media is that you're able to watch certain positions like wide receiver, cornerback, offensive line much more effectively with the tools we do provide. I mean, the PFF Ultimate is something we do give to the NFL teams and NCAA teams that allows you to filter down to clips. And you can watch a guy. You can watch a guy's targets. You can watch a guy's all of his targets 10+ yards down the football field. All of his targets against man coverage. All of his targets in zone. When down by 10 in the third quarter or in the third quarter.
Why would you want to watch one down by 10?
Not down by 10. Whatever. But I'm just saying there's this filter ability to where watching tape is so much more efficient, so much more effective that you can get to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You can get to the guys deep down draft boards. While I think maybe something like McShay or others need a little help there. Need that access.
They need the access.
Get
in touch with us, guys. All right. Next one. Jason Strowbridge at 40 is DT5, and Jordan Elliott at DT10. Or Jason Strowbridge, excuse me, not DT5, at number 45 overall on his draft board.
Really?
Jason Strowbridge, the guy who's a defensive tackle listed at 265 pounds.
He also got buried by Josh Jones.
Yeah, he was the guy who got
guard.
buried. If you like Josh Jones that high, you can't like Strowbridge that high because Jones buried him. No, but and then Jordan Elliott, our DT3, Missouri guy.
Highest graded interior defensive lineman in college football.
Highest graded defense. DT10. Not even in his top 100.
Man.
Oh, that one's like.
That stung.
That one's crazy. He's 117 on his draft board. He's just he's better than that.
We're going to finish here on the McShay version of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and overall reaction to what he's got from a position ranking standpoint and overall. But you put all caps lock here. It's your guy. No Jonah Jackson.
And this one goes for both McShay and Mel Kiper. Jonah is not even ranked on on McShay's top 25.
And I know the reason why. I can tell you the reason why.
They haven't watched him.
Rutgers transfer.
Okay.
He's a Rutgers transfer. He wasn't getting built up in the 2018 season. 2019 has a very good year. But maybe, did you not see him at the Senior Bowl, though? I mean, this guy could stood out like a sore thumb in a very good way. And then he was winning every rep. Had a weird build, but was making work with it. Great balance. I mean, Jonah Jackson blew up the Senior Bowl.
Not even ranked on either McShay or Kiper's boards.
Flying under the radar. You know what I hate, though? I hope they don't know, because they have better access than we do to the players and to the coaches. You got to hope there's not a red flag somewhere.
That we've missed?
Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
No.
Series of unfortunate events.
I don't think there is.
That would be unfortunate.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.